Okay, we'll just start. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Allow this down. Present. Yeah. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on what location you're, depending on the time zone of wherever you're joining us from. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for watching this. For those that would be watching a replay of this, welcome to Paper to Profit. Yeah, I know. Last time we had a webinar, that was last month. We talked about how to build it right for small business owners. And I know we mentioned the fact that we need to understand that we are not just building for now, we are building for the future. And if we are building for the future, we don't just want to build anyhow. We don't want to build something that is standing now but does not have a solid structure and can just crumble. And by the time it's crumbling, because we've put in so much effort, manpower, resources, it comes crashing down with all of them. And we also asked participants how, if they were, if they had a record keeping method that they use. We gave different options: Excel or Google Sheets, accounting software, paper and pen, or maybe nothing consistent. And about 80% have between nothing consistent and paper and pen. Yeah. Paper and pen is fine, but it's still not there. It's even worse when it's nothing consistent. And also, we asked participants if they know their profit, and a lot of people as well do not know their profit. That's kind of bothering as well. I need to admit somebody. Yeah. So that's also a bother, because the reason why we do business is to make profit, right? So how come we are doing this business, we are making these sales, we are we are saying, oh, back in stock, oh, sold out, oh, out of stock, but the money is not really showing what exactly is the problem. And that's why we say, okay, we'll do the paper to profit. So the paper part will address recording keeping aspect, and the profit part will show us how to do proper record keeping and also how to do costing, because I know costing is a major thing. We'll go into it. So today is week one, and today is day one of week one. This week is just for costing alone, and we'll have another meeting by Saturday because there will be an exercise, and we'll have that meeting on Saturday and we'll see what we are up to. Right. So when we talk about profit, what exactly makes up profit? Profit is the difference between the price, the amount that you bought something, and the price that you are selling it. Right? We have two types of business owners. We have those that buy finished products. For example, you are buying shoes, you are buying bags, you are selling slippers, you are selling sandals, anything you are selling, you are not producing it yourself. You are just buying it and just adding your own cost and selling it, right? And we have those that they have to manufacture. Probably you are selling cakes and confectionaries. Yeah, you had to do handmade leather, handmade bags, handmade shoes. You had to sew for a customer. Anything that has to do with production, basically, those are another set of people, right? And we have those that are services based. They are not buying anything, they are not selling anything, they don't have a physical product, they offer their own services. But this particular part is to address those that buy and sell and those that also produce, right? So when we say profit, profit is the difference between the selling price and the cost price. Now, if the selling price is greater than the cost price, we have profit. But if the selling price is lesser than the cost price, that is a loss. But how do we determine this selling price itself? What exactly is this selling price? Is it just what exactly is the cost price? Is it just the amount that we bought it? That's what we want to do here now. Now, for example, we have an entrepreneur, business person that sells shoes. For example, the name is Ade. Ade bought maybe a pair of red shoes for 15,000 naira, and she sold them for 25,000 naira. Everybody will say, "Oh, Ade bought this thing for 25,000 naira, oh, and she's selling it for 15,000 naira. Oh, that's a profit of 10,000 naira," which you will agree with me that that is a profit. But what if the price of that particular shoes is more than 15,000 naira? Do we just buy the shoe for 15,000 naira and just assume that this shoe is just 15,000 naira? Do we just buy this bag for 10,000 naira and assume that it's just 10,000 naira, right? Is there somebody else trying to join? Do we just assume that it's 10,000 naira? Do we just assume that, okay, I'm buying this particular bread for 100 naira, and instantly I want to sell it for 150, and that's a profit of 150? No, that's the problem. That's the mistake that most of us, that's the mistake that we make. And but in the process of buying, there are so many things that comes into place. There are so many expenses that you make. Is more than you just buying the shoe. By the time you buy the shoes, you either go to pick the shoes up, or the shoes might need to be delivered to your place. You are sending out the shoe maybe in a box, even if it's a nylon. You are adding your business card to the shoes that you are selling out. And we know how bank charges are these days. These are costs as well that need to be taken care of. And this is what we call the hidden costs, right? So, for example, now, but even though Ade bought the shoes for 15,000 naira, there are other costs, there are other expenses that she's make. If she's not buying the shoe, will she be sending out a nylon? No. If she's not buying the shoe, will she just be paying a supplier delivery fee, or will she just be saying, "No, I want to go and pick up the shoes that I bought"? No. The reason why she's making all of those expenses is because of the shoes that she bought and she wants to sell. But what most of us, what we do is that we just take that price that we bought the shoe and just add, okay, this is why I want to sell it, and that's all. Look at Ade now. Aside when she bought the shoe, can you see? She has to go to market. She has to go and pick up the shoe, 300 naira. The packaging bag that she's using, one of them is 200 naira each. The business card that she's going to put into that shoe, okay, patronize me later or maybe anything. Thank you for patronizing us. By the time she calculates, that's 15 naira per one. Bank is going to deduct their own transaction fee. That should be 15 naira, apologies. The business card should be 500 and the bank card fee should be 15 naira. By the time we have all of this together, it's already 1,050 naira. So what will now take care of this? Well, account will is for somebody, for some of us that understand Yoruba. So by the time you say, okay, I'm buying, I'm selling a lot, but I'm not seeing the profit, it's because you're not actually taking care of the cost itself. It is after we've determined all of these costs that we now see what is the price of this shoe, for example, right? For example, those of us that are into production, we will still come back to that. When you're producing, you know the amount of flour, you know how many cups. For example, let's say a baker, somebody that sells maybe cake, they know how many cups of flour that they need to use to bake maybe a 6-inch cake or a 10-inch cake or a 20-inch cakes. They know how many cups of sugar, they know how many cups of grain. But bags of flour does not come in cups of, it does not come, it comes in, there's a lot of it, right? So they need to divide that bag of flour by cost. They need to know how much is 1 cup of flour that I'm going to use to make this cake. How much is one tablespoon of vanilla flavor that I'm going to use to make this cake? How much is one nutmeg that I'm going to use to make this cake? Before they now say this is the cost of this cake, before they now add their own profit to it. Do we understand? Now, for example, before, I did just assume that what she's selling the shoe is, she bought the shoe for 15,000 naira and she's going to sell it for 25,000 naira just like that. But no, she is thinking that she's making a profit of 16,050 naira, but she's not. Her actual profit is 25,000 naira minus 16,050 naira, which is 8,950. So the real profit is actually smaller than what she thought she was making. If she wants to still make a profit of 10,000 naira, her own is just to say, okay, what's my cost price? 16,050 naira. I'm going to add extra 10,000 to it, and that's 26,000 naira. But we tend to forget this part. We tend to, but billings are going out. Your account is debiting. You are paying for nylons. You are paying delivery driver. You are paying Uber driver. You are paying for this one. You are paying for that one. And these are things that you cannot do without. You can't just say you're not going to get delivery of your products. You can't say you're not going to go to the market, or if you enter Oshodi and you're telling the driver that I'm not paying. No, now they won't look at you and say they'll be like, excuse me, what do you mean you are not paying? So these are things that you cannot avoid. They need to be taken care of. And it is not your own to now be testing them. It's for you to be adding them and then get exactly what the cost is. Right. Now, we'll talk about indirect costs. So everything I've said before now, they are direct costs. Why did I say they are direct costs? Because they are costs that are directly associated with a particular product. You can say one nylon is what I'm going to use for this customer. One nylon is this. You can say I'm going to give this customer this business card and this is the price of it. But there are some of them that you cannot calculate like that. If I produce a nylon and somebody is charging me maybe 50,000 naira to produce 50 pieces of customized nylon for me. If I want to know each cost of that nylon, it's just to say 50,000 naira divided by 50 and I know each cost. But what happens when it's now rent? When is your salary? Do you want to say, I'm paying this person 100K, for example? Maybe you have a social media manager, or you have a WhatsApp handler, or you have an ads manager that you're paying for. Even your data, you cannot say, I'm buying MTN 10 gigs today. Oh, okay, I'm going to say because I'm going to send to 10 customers, these are the customers that are going to pay for it. No, it doesn't work that way. That's why we call them indirect costs. That's why we call them overhead, because we cannot tie them. We can't get a specific cost for them. You can't say this is how much, this is for this particular product. So this is how much I want you to pay for rent. This is how much I want you to pay for light. This is how much I want you to pay for data. No. So how do we account for this cost? There is a way to do that. We need to spread them all over, right? For example, I'm going to show us an example real quick of how we can do that. I need to take this off presentation mode. Excuse me. How do I get here now? I'm just open it again. Okay. I'm just going to open it again. Yes. So for example, I'll use the example of a what sort of example can we use? Why is it taking this ages to load? How do I exit full screen? Exactly. I'm just gonna duplicate this. So let's say, for example, we have somebody that sells cake, right? Let's just say, let's say Ifmat cakes, right? So direct costs for Ikmat will be, if she wants to make, if Ikmat wants to make, let's say a 10 inches cake, what will Ikmat use to make that 10 inches cake? Number one, she use flour. Number two, she will use sugar. Abi? I know we have people that have idea. Does anybody know what else they use for heat? They will use butter. They'll use flavor. It depends on what type of flavor. If it's going to be vanilla, chocolate. They use I can't remember. I'm not a cake person. I don't know. Does anybody have any idea what else they are going to use? I know they use salt, even if it's a pinch of salt. What else do they use to make cake? They use butter, they use flour, they use sugar, they use you can use I don't know. Let's just say this is what this person is going to use for this 10 inches cake. Now she's going to know how many cups of flour. Let's say 4 cups of flour. Just an assumption because I'm not a baker. Let's say 4 cups of flour and let's say 2 tablespoons of sugar or 1 cup of sugar. You know, it's 1 cup of sugar as well. Mm. Then let's say the butter. Maybe she's going to use half cup of butter. She must have measured it and know how everything is going to be. The flavor she's going to use might just be a pinch because there's a measurement for, let's just say, a teaspoon, right? And salt, maybe half teaspoon. I'm not too sure. We are just assuming, as I said. Right. So let's say she already measured. She because she buys flour in bags. There are some of us that buy flour in maybe smaller quantity, but she buys in bags. And in a bag of flour, let's say we have 200 cups. If the bag of flour costs 200,000 naira, right? And because she buys a bag of flour has is cost 200,000 naira, right? And we have, let's say, 1,000 cups in it. For us to get the measurement of a cup, how much a cost is going to cost is just 200,000 divided by 1,000, right? I'm just going to quickly press that. I just want to show us how the direct and indirect costs will come into place. So if a bag of flour is 200,000 and she knows that she's going to get, let's say, 1,000 cups from it, how do we know each cup? That would be 200,000 divided by 100,000. That means a cup is about 200, which is not true in today's world, but let's just assume that a cup is 200 and that is 200 times 4, that would be 800. I'm just assuming. A cup of sugar, let's say 200. She has already gotten the same price as well. 1 cup of butter, let's say 250. 1 teaspoon, let's say 200. Another salt, let's just say 50. So that gives us a total cost of 800 plus 200 is 1,000. 1,000 plus 200 is 1,200. 1,200 plus 250 plus 50, that's 1,500, right? But this is not everything that she's going to use to make that cake. She has a mixer that she's going to mix with this cake. With that mixer, she will not use light, Abby. She's going to go and she has maybe a fondant, another fondant machine that she's going to use to mix this cake, right? That mixer is not a traditional mixer. She has to use light for it, right? So how do we now calculate this indirect cost to know how much exactly we are making? What they do is that they just say, okay, this is my cost price. They tend to add a markup. Maybe just say I want to add 50%. So she will just calculate 50% of 1,500, which is like 750, and add it to it, which is like 2,250, and say, okay, that's how much I want to sell this cake for. But it might not be a safer place because what if her electricity and other things that she's spending, the this thing is actually more than this, right? So what they do is that they calculate all of these things for a month. If you are spending maybe 20,000 naira on data and you are spending, let's say, 10,000 naira on electric, let's calculate the indirect cost now. 2 seconds. Let's say the indirect cost. She's spending 10,000 naira on data, right? And she's spending, let's say, another 10,000 naira on light every month. Let's just assume that it's every month. That means she has 20,000 naira expense to make. How will she now account for this 20,000 naira such that She doesn't make a loss when it is time, right? Before she can do this, she needs to know how many cakes she needs to have an idea of how many cakes she'll be making in a month, or she needs to have an idea of how many puff puff or how many orders she'll be getting in a month, such that if she's certain that at least I will get 10,000 of this 10, I will get 10 pieces of this 10 inches cake this month, and this is how much of my indirect cost is. She's just going to say 20,000 rand divided by 10, whatever that gives us, which is about 2,000. She's going to add it to this cake again. We are just assuming that this is the price, right? In real sense, the figure is not feasible enough, but that is how you calculate for it. One thing I want us to understand is that number one, after producing, if before producing, you need to know how many of this yard I'm going to check. If I'm going to use 1 yard of this particular material to sew this customer's clothes, how many yards did I buy in the market? How much did I buy it for? How much is a yard? If I'm going to buy from this, if I'm going to use this a particular type of lining or a particular type of zip or a particular type of leather for this customer, how much did I buy the bundle of the leather? How many am I going to use for this? Can I calculate it? Number one, can I get it? Now, if after you've calculated everything that goes into the production of that shoes, the production of the bag, that's not enough to say this is how much I want to sell it. You need to add your direct cost, you need to add your indirect cost and see what we have, right? Before we go into the last part, because I have an exercise that I would like all of us to go into. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions? Is anything disturbing you? Do you think there is something I mentioned that you didn't understand? Or do you think there is something I mentioned that you want me to say it again? Do we have any questions like that? Hello. Do we have any questions? Okay. Maybe we have, maybe we don't have. I want to show us our first exercise. So for our first exercise will be number one. I want us to write down maybe our top products. Say for example, maybe you sell bags, the types of bag that you know is best selling, write down at least five of them. Now we want to cost these five. Let me show you how we do that. I already made a Google Sheet for everyone to use, which is free by the way. I did that this afternoon. Let me quickly share my screen. So I want us to list these products and also list the cost of making them and how much you currently sell them, or how much you currently sell them for, so that we can know now if okay, is it the price of this product? Have I been underpricing this product? Right? Have I been cheating myself, or have I been forgetting that, oh, there's something I need to add to this thing, oh, that I've not been adding? So I'm going to share that screen now. It's coming up 2 seconds. Yeah, it's this one. It's this one. I'm just going to quickly share. Where is it again? Open now. Okay. Yeah. Why is this so slow? Okay, it's this one. It's this one. I'm just going to share my screen real quick. Uh, why is this thing really, really slow to do? I know. Okay. Is it this shit that is slow? I just pressing what is not. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. This is the sheet that every one of us will be using, but I just want to show us how to use it, for example. So So we will put here, you can see items and stuff that make it up, for example. So if you sell, let's say you sell a backpack, you had it here. If you sell laptop bags, you had it here. If you sell maybe lunch pack or this kids lunch pack or anything like that, you had it here as well. I just want to be at least five. You can add as many as you want, but at least five of them that you have. And here we will add what, let's say for example this person is buying it, so how much you bought it. If it's cost price from the market, you put it here. If you are having to maybe add a nylon, you put it here. If whatever it is that is taking you, whatever cost that you had to do for this particular product, for this particular backpack, before it can be sent out, you had everything here. This particular one is for a customer that is into laundry. That's why you're seeing bleach, nepa fuel, starch, water, and everything. And here you put in the current price. So if, for example, this lunch bag that I'm selling it for 5,000 naira. This particular one, you don't have to touch it. It's going to be a sum of everything. What is it now? It's going to be a sum of everything you might have put into here, right? If you don't have this much thing that you put into buying, that you put into it, don't worry, just leave it as it is. But don't touch this particular column K, because once you touch it, it's going to disrupt everything. Just leave it like that. Anything you put into column C from column J, they will just add up to this column K. I want us to work on the direct costs. You know, I said that direct costs are costs that we incur directly for this product, right? So if it is somebody that is into if somebody that's into making shoes, leather shoes like Ikmat, she will have to start by knowing the leather that she's buying, how many how many in a row she's buying, how much does she need to make a shoe, the buckle that she's using, the designs that she's using, maybe any extra design that she has to put on these bags, how much they cost per each and stuff like that, and list them out. This is our tax one. This is what we have. This is what I want us to do for tax one. And when is this tax due? It's going to due on Saturday, because I want us to have enough time to check into it. I know we might be busy, but I want us to do this as soon as possible, and there is absolutely no pressure until Saturday, because I believe we have enough time from now till Saturday to look into this. It's just a night, or it's just a day, or we just few hours that we need to just look into it and just fill them out. This is just for the direct cost. We'll talk about we'll deal with the indirect costs during the course of the week again. We'll list it out. I'll show us how to list the indirect cost out, the indirect cost out as well. But I want us to list out the direct cost first. Then we'll list out the indirect cost. Direct costs, we should be done listing these out by Thursday, or yeah, Thursday. And by Saturday, we can list out all our indirect. If you have an idea of how much you spend on data or on lights or your social media manager, if you're paying anybody's salary in a month, let's start thinking about it, right? And we'll come again on Saturday. In fact, you might be seeing it even before we come on Saturday. You might be seeing it from the direct cost, whether okay, is this price actually giving me profit or not, or am I already selling at a loss or not? But we'll wait until then. Obviously, if you have any questions or anything, you can always ask on the page. I think I've locked the page. You can always ask me so that we all can learn together. And for tomorrow, I will drop another reminder. I will drop a recording of this link as well, so that those people that could not join us today, they can join. And I will also drop the access to this Google Sheet tomorrow. I'll drop it tomorrow evening for us to be able to start. And on Wednesday, it will just be an engagement day for us to just something relating to costs and something relating to business in general. And is that what I have on Wednesday? I can't even remember. But I know our next Google Meet, our next live session will be on Saturday. And I hope that we can do this. And when we do this, we do it for clarity because that is the reason why I want to do it, just to be sure we are on the safer side. Then next week we will go into the record keeping parts. I want us to be as many as possible that will be wanting to get them to use Google Sheets, not for sale now, just something simple that they can always use because you cannot be writing in paper and you have to keep calculating every time. You have to keep pressing calculator. What if you just missed one number? You have to start again from number one. So that is not so nice as well. So we'll go into that properly next week. Do we have any questions? And everybody's just quiet. I don't know if they're even listening to me at this point. But do we
Sorry,
have
ma.
any
Good evening, ma.
questions?
Sorry,
Any
good evening, ma.
concerns? Good evening, ma'am.
Please, this market colon and the actual price colon. Please, what should we put in the market and the
Okay, I
actual
said
price,
it could
ma?
be sorry, the market. I just wanted to say maybe the price that you bought it from the market. For example, that was what I wanted to write down there. But you just put everything
Okay.
because obviously you I don't know if you'll be using bleach or fuel or starch. I'm going to remove all of those things for us to fill in what we use. The current price that will be the price that you sell it at the moment, and the actual price will just
Okay,
be a
ma.
sum up of everything that you have filled it in here. Do we get?
Yes, ma.
Thank you,
Yes, ma.
thank you. Do we have any other questions?